What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the morning bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Thank you guys all for joining us. Coming off a massive day. These days are really important. We're putting in so much work. The roller coaster ride of our action is so taxing that it's just crucial to have giant days where you can sit back and feel good about yourself. I went 19-6 yesterday, 15-6 in MLB, 4-0 in WNBA. Just felt great. We'll just touch on it briefly and then we'll move past it. Cleveland first 5 minus a half cashed. Cleveland full game -1 cashed. And I cost myself by also adding that first 3 under 2.5. It was a mistake. The line has moved so massively towards the Guardians today. The line didn't really make sense to me last night, but now with the 45-cent move, it does. St. Louis first 5, I don't know. There's a few different bets that I'm not that are tied for the best bet in baseball for us, and Kyle Leahy is the best. I think of backing Kyle Leahy and fading Bryce Miller, and it's just heaven on earth. St. Louis first 5 cash. St. Louis Cincinnati first 3 under 2.5 cashed. I was very wrong about the Nick Martinez start. Toronto Tampa Bay first 3 under 2 and first 5 under 4.5 for both losers. Seattle Milwaukee first 5 over 4. Milwaukee first 5 minus a half. Milwaukee full game -1. Cash, cash, cash. Atlanta Minnesota first 5 over 4.5 was wrong. And speaking of my 6 losses are right here. Washington first 5 and Washington Texas first 3 under 2.5. Really wrong about Jack Kent's second start. It's amazing. I'd be wrong about so much, and then, we cash so much. So, Orioles first 3 and first 5 push. Pirates first 5 minus a half cash. Pirates full game -135 cash. The market really has a keen. We talk about the market having a keen eye on some pitchers. Braxton Ashcraft, the market's just letting us know if he's going to shove or not every time. It's wonderful. Padres first 3. Padres first 5 cash, cash. Athletics Kansas City under 9.5 cash. Chicago -1 push. LA Houston first 3 under 3 cashed. LA Houston full game under 9.5 cashed. LA first 5 plus a half cashed. Connecticut Sun first quarter cash plus a half. So Connecticut Sun first half plus a half cashed. Atlanta Dream plus 3.5 cashed. And Sky plus 3.5 cashed. We're at our high water mark now in the WNBA, which is great. But we want to keep climbing. But it's excellent. 73-53. We're at 57.9% plus 13.4 units. ROI plus 10.63%. Average line -112. And I like it. But let's do it again. So let's just move past it. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. We got Justin McKelvey in the house. Stacks play today 1 and 2 in Braves. Team total over 4.5 and Yankees Orioles over 9. I moved on that first 5 over in the Yankees Orioles game. And I'm sure, Justin, you had the same concerns with the lack of offense of those two baseball teams. But, God, I really, really want to attack the starters. So I'm right with you. Correlated action with that. We got Josh Witt in the house. Agent Parlay TV Jones, Man Bear Pig War Bucks in the house. We got our guy TJ ready to get to work. He will be here in 48 hours. He will touch ground in Toronto. We have the Sports Rage 25th anniversary on Friday night. The Low Bag Pub Sports Radio Summit of Champions at Woodbine on Saturday. Argos Ticats game Saturday night. Sounds good. 7-2 for TJ yesterday. Excellent work. TV Jones says Brewers -1.5 will be the easiest bet in Major League history. And Matty Ice says early Taint today. Remember, Taint was on the Brewers on the run line as well. The Godfather in the house. Woo, RZA, Monster T, Mark Stasowski coming off a 5-1-1 week right now. And the Taint play today is in. It's the Atlanta Braves. There's Wine Time Sports, Nicholas Handy. Great to see all of you guys. Taint play of the day is in. We have early Taint, and we also have correlated action with Stacks play of the day #1 and Taint. So an early sign from Taint. All right, let's get right to work. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's start stringing these big days together. The losses hurt more than the wins feel good. So the roller coaster ride is, It so takes such a toll on our lives, man. Felt good last night. Felt real good. Let's do it again. 12:35 p.m. Eastern with the Detroit Tigers 61-64, 29-33 on the road at the Pittsburgh Pirates 61-66, 32-32 home. We are at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't have Ballpark app up here. Let me get my Ballpark pal up here. So let's roll. Start with the conditions here at PNC Park. Plus 5% runs, minus 3% homers, plus 14% doubles and triples, and we are even for singles. You know, this is a tricky game, and there's a few of them here. And we can dig deep into these games and find action. Shout out to Turnbuckle Tommy off a big 5-2 day. Love to see it. Jackson Jobe here, the third overall pick in the 2021 draft out of Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma City. We know he went through the Tommy John surgery in 2025. He looked very good in his rehab starts. He's throwing over 100 right now. And that first start was excellent. It was at Oracle Park in San Francisco. You know, San Francisco Giants sticks are meek. He shut him down. 5 innings, 1 hit, 4 Ks, 1 walk. And then he got lit up at home to the White Sox. Lit up. And, you know, obviously these two starts are extremely different, and I find him tough to figure out here in his third start. Unpredictable Jackson Jobe, who we're all very high on. He's a big part of the reason why Skubal and Mize were moved. Paul Skeens, on the other hand, 9-11, 3.88 ERA, 1.12 whip. We went over the diminished velocity on last night's show from 99 to 96, now to 95.2. I don't see how he can be trusted. Now, you could say, look, I'm not trusting Paul Skeens, I'm trusting the market. And that would be a valid argument. TV Jones says Skeens sucks. Maybe right now. Says Tigers offense more consistent than the Pirates are, yes. Now, we comfortably faded the Tigers offense yesterday, but there is a big difference between these two teams with the sticks. Says off day yesterday, big deal. Skeens sucks and the Pirates bats are terrible, and Cruz back in center field. Errors and strikeouts back, says TV Jones. I love stakes, man. They're fun. They make having fun. Godfather says Skeens out prop at 15.5. Very interesting. Matty Guy says I think we have to take the Tigers at this plus price. There's Geo Bed in the house. Robert Franklin with the over 8. Double up Dave looking at over Jobe hits. Turnbuckle Tommy like in the first 5 over here. So we've talked about Skeens' diminished velocity. Last time we saw him, he was pretty good. I mean, I guess we've lowered that bar now for Skeens. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, and a 2-0 loss at the Marlins. You know, all of this is weighing on him. They've lost 4 straight of his starts, and we were talking about and I don't want to get too caught up into the psychological side of Skeens right now, but he's talking so softly. Yeah, well, I understand what the manager wanted to do. He walked me through everything. Come on, man. Look at your girlfriend. Man up. You're a superstar in Major League Baseball. You're a giant. Grab your balls and talk to us, man. I just, my velocity's down, and, well, maybe I'm not very good. Maybe I'll be out of the league soon, and Livy Dunn will be banging some other star. He's just lost that confidence, that swagger, So, look, I didn't know what to do with this game last night. I don't know really. Well, let's get into the line history, and let's talk about the bullpens. We have a wash with these bullpens. 3.63 ERA, 1.35 whip. Tigers bullpen, 3.45 ERA, 1.26 whip. Like TV Jones is saying, I think that it's much easier to get to the Tiger side in this equation. The Tigers are raking right now. 292, 844 OPS versus righties. Pirates versus righties, 236, 670 OPS. But I also am hesitant just to fade. I'm not hesitant to fade Skeens. I've clearly left money on the table while a lot of you guys have been eating on all these Skeens starts. We've had a 22-cent move towards the Pirates from minus 133 to minus 155. That's a big move, and we'll go over the price difference first 5 in full game as well. From a total standpoint, this opened up at 7.5 minus 125 to the over. Now it's an 8 minus 112 to the under, so it's clearly moving towards the under. When we look at the price difference here for this one, we have the Pirates at minus 154 full game, minus 175 first 5. There's 21 cents difference. Look, everything here, and shout out to Lansdowne Blue and Lucas Mark A. Everything here, Nasty Nate in the house, he no ball. Golfing Stars fan. Great to see all of you guys. Colin Gregory. When the market's putting us in a direction where it'd be very easy and comfortable to back Skeens, I'm not going to do that under any circumstances. But I guess I'm just more comfortable staying off of this game. I have to look. I've got a lot of bets. I've got 12 bets now. I need and want action. Had a lot of it yesterday, and I don't need to have as much as I had yesterday. 77% of the tickets, 91% of the cash is on Pittsburgh. Seems like everybody's like hand in hand expecting Skeens to deliver here. 63% of tickets on the under, 90% of cash on the over now. So it's very similar, obviously, because the graphics that we're going to have for the cash flow is all from 10 a.m. So I'm off. TJ says getaway day early. Both teams off tomorrow. Pens can be emptied. Historically, a spot where I bet unders, and I am here, says TJ. Look, that makes perfect. Look, that makes sense. There's a lot that makes sense here. But I'm off of the game, and that's fine. So I have to tell myself this is okay not to bet this baseball game. Let's roll on. 1:10 p.m. Eastern, our next spot on the board. Warbuck says, hop on these Tigers and get paid. Look, I get it. I respect it. I need to have real conviction if I'm going to go up against market moves like this, and I don't have it here. San Diego Padres, New York Mets. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York. Game 2 on the board here. Let's talk about the spot. Let's talk about the conditions too. Minus 8% runs, plus 2% homers, minus 19% doubles and triples, and minus 6% singles. We have more run suppressing weather in American Family Field and at Wrigley as well. We have Padres, New York Mets. So we have Michael King here going up against Robert Stock, and I like Stock. Turnbuckle Tommy says he thinks this is another first 5 over 5. I like Robert Stock. I like his story. 88. He's pitched 90 innings in Major League Baseball. He's 36. I like the fact that he's here right now. I like it. I like Michael King. He's a very professional pitcher. He gets the job done. He is not dominant. There's times where we question whether he's dealing with arm fatigue. Last start, 3 earned runs over 6 innings, 7-5 win at the Guardians. It was a nice start here. Wine Time says that he generally likes Bob Stock. Well, Bob Stock. And, I like King and I like Stock as well. So I was astonished last night that the first 3 over 2.5 was minus 140. Astonished. My plan, and also to add to this, I guess that's not too big of a deal what FanDuel had here, but I just couldn't understand how this total would be at that number. It just, it completely got me off of the game. I had interest, and I still have some interest in Stock first 5 plus a half, but that first 3 over 2.5 at minus 140. I don't remember seeing a first 3 over at Citi Field at that number. It's an 8.5 minus 115 to the over. So we thought that it could be minus 125 to the over, but to see that minus 140 to the over was nuts. And at this point now, it won't matter if the line's moved. It's moved 5 cents to the under, but it wouldn't matter if it moved 10 or 15. I trust those early numbers here. Sharpie says heading to breakfast, but wanted to say that Roki shoves today. I love that. Thank you, Sharpie, my man. Have a great breakfast. Thank you for stopping by, to telling us Roki shoves. I'm very interested in that game. I haven't moved on yet. Wine Time Sports, Mets first 5 plus a half at minus 130. And Stock, again, Turnbuckle Tommy talking about his last 3 starts as a whole. And I think that's tricky with Robert Stock, just because we've seen him pitch here at Citi Field twice, and he's been unbelievable. 9 1/3 combined, 6 hits, 1 earned run. That was a solo shot. 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, and then he had the one start at the Pirates. He got lit up and smoked. I think it's well within reason that he pitches well here. I think it's well within reason that both these pitchers pitch well here. I was astonished that this first 3 over 2.5 would be minus 140. Astonished. When it comes to the sticks, look, the Padres, or let's go to the bullpens. I trust both of these bullpens. I know there's a bunch that don't trust, but I trust both of these bullpens. I know a lot of people just unconditionally trust the Padres bullpen. They were so good the first 2.5 months of the year, and then they fell off. They're back to pitching very, very well again. And then when it comes to the sticks, these Padres are raking right now. 285, 838 OPS. That last start at home versus the Nationals, it was run-suppressing weather for Stock, and Nationals aren't nearly as tough as they once were with their bats. And you could say the same thing about the Marlins. The Pirates got to him, and they're not hitting. And Turnbuckle Tommy said that's why he likes the first 5 over. It's a market play in his opinion. I completely understand that. Let's go over this market here. We have an 8.5 minus 113 to the over. That's high. The idea for us was that this was it was 5 cents off the number of the Robbie Ray start yesterday. So I was like, this number is fine. I was planning on moving on the first 3 under 2.5. And I also have interest in Wine Time's first 5 plus half. It was the first thing I'd written down in this game, and the first 3 under 2.5. Let's get to the money line here for this one. We also want to take a look at the price difference. There's been 3 cents of movement overall to Michael King. This moved against them. This went down to minus 123 after this had been available for 10 minutes. So the first move with limits from the sharp gamblers moved this 12 cents, 10 cents towards the Mets, 12 cents away from the Padres. Now we've come back to a minus 138, which could be, would be expected. Let's get into the price difference before we get into the cash flow here. So price difference, first 5 in full game here in this Mets-Padres spot. We have the Mets plus 122 full game at Penny. And first 5 plus 113. That is appealing. That certainly is appealing. The Padres offense does scare me. So the Padres are full game plus minus 133, first half minus 129. So they're telling us there's an advantage, with Bob Stock. Let's see what the cash flow tells us here. 68% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Padres. It was 67 and 95, so we've had some big bets in the last 18 minutes come in, or at least be reported as in. It's a 50-50 ticket count with 64% of cash on the over. It's gone down a little bit. We've had some tickets come in on the under, a little bit of cash on the under. It's gone down a little bit here. Justin McKelvey on the over 8.5 here. Over 8.5. Turnbuckle Tommy says, I see 87% of tickets, 9% of cash on the over on Circa. It's just sitting at 8.5. Makes me feel like we see runs early and not late. I think that's very fair. I think that's a absolutely fair way of looking at this. There's our guy Morgan Spooner in the house. Dougie Wise in the house. Great to see you guys. So I guess I have interest in the Mets' first 5. The first 5 plus a half for these Mets is minus 122 opinion. That's a fine number. I could get here. But we would need Bob Stock to pitch very well against a very good Padres team, and I wonder if this is necessary for me to move on it. I mean, the idea that the first 3 over 2.5 would be minus 140 last night. Who cares? It's moved 5 cents to the under. They're telling us there's a ton of volatility in this baseball game, and if there's a lot of volatility, you would kind of, end up veering towards the offense that's clicking. With it all said and done, I'll just leave it at interest in the Mets' first 5 plus a half. It's 10:20 a.m. Eastern right now. Shout out to everybody on the West Coast, 7:20 a.m. out there. I think that if I wait an hour and a half or 2 hours, I'll get a better idea here. So if I wait till after the show. But, this is not a fade of King. The volatility makes me uncomfortable. The implied volatility of the first 3 over, it does make me very uncomfortable. Turnbuckle Thomas says both Stock and King are on 4 days rest instead of 5 days rest. Runs early there. There's our guy Slatsy in the house as well. Godfather liking the Padres today. So I have some interest in the Mets first 5 plus a half. I do have 12 bets on this card, so I know you're seeing me pensive on these first 2 games. Let's roll on to game 3 here on the board, and this is exciting. We have two of our stars plays of the day here. Let's start with number one. Our guy, Justin McKelvey. Stacks play of the day is in business here. Stacks play of the day number one is the Braves team total over 4.5 at plus 105. And shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
We have the Stacks play of the day number one in the Braves team total over 4.5. And that is correlating perfectly with the taint play of the day. The taint play of the day from our guy Matty Ice is the Atlanta Braves money line, fresh off a smash and grab. I still can't, like, just seeing Julio Rodriguez's face as he threw the ball over the wall thinking that there was 2 outs. I mean, it was just, what a horrific display of baseball by the Mariners. This is such a short line today. I imagine they come ready to play today after the debacle of yesterday. Matty Ice taint play today is the Atlanta Braves. So let's get into this spot here. Golfing Star fan says Braves last 11-0 in the third game of a series here. We have such an interesting spot. We have AJ Smith-Shawver going up against Taj Bradley. And we had this massive line move towards the Minnesota Twins yesterday. It's actually slipped back a tiny bit, but there was this massive move to the Twins. TV Jones says Taj hasn't been sharp lately, tons of walks. And he says doesn't trust AJ Smith-Shawver either. This is over or a pass for him. Shout out to bottom of the ninth bets, OG Swag. Mark Stastowski has both teams to score 3 or more here. So we've seen Shawver for a long time. He wasn't that high of a draft pick. He was drafted out of high school. He made his MLB debut, but he was high. I think it was between the 3rd and 5th rounds. I can't remember exactly. He made his MLB debut when he was 20. And, he showed a ton of potential. He underwent right elbow Tommy John surgery on June 9th, 2025. His fastball's right where he wants it to be. He can get up to 99 when he needs to. It's between 95 and 97. He's looked excellent in the minors. Single-A Augusta, Triple-A Gwinnett. Single-A Augusta is where he started his rehab assignments. He had 3 starts in Triple-A Gwinnett before he had his first start in the show. That was on Wednesday, July 29th, and it wasn't that good. It wasn't that bad. 4 1/3, 4 earned runs, allowed 4 Ks, 2 walks. The Triple-A Gwinnett, here we go. Triple-A Gwinnett, 5 starts, 21 2/3. So he's had 2 starts at Triple-A Gwinnett since, and he's looked excellent. I mean, he's looked excellent. The Twins aren't hitting despite Buxton being in the lineup, and I'm starting to see what you guys are seeing in the Braves. Let's talk about Taj Bradley, 9-5, 3.98 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, 4.02 expected ERA. The thing about Taj, I know that he's been not good in these last 2 starts. The start at the Field of Dreams game, I think we can put a line through it. It's a non-traditional environment, and maybe that got to him. 5 earned runs over 4 innings. I mean, looking back at the spot, it's not a surprise that the veteran in Nola handled these alt situation, the non-traditional environment better than the kid. The start before that, 3 earned runs over 5 innings at the Brewers. I mean, that's a fine start. And the 2 starts previous to that, he was shoving. 4 of the 5 starts previous to that were quality starts. And when you go back to the one that wasn't, was a 5 earned runs in 5 innings at the Cubs. But before that, the one that wasn't was 11 strikeouts over 5 innings. He just didn't make it through the 6. His Airness says the Braves got shut down by Zebby, and TJ says, how do we ignore the Atlanta Bats? And we're going to get into the Atlanta Bats here in a second, but let's start with the bullpens. The Twins have a big bullpen advantage. Maybe that's a little much. They're both whips are really high, but the fact that we would even question whether the Twins have a bullpen advantage over the Braves is nuts, insane to me. It's so speaking of Zebby, I was very wrong about Zebby. I was wrong about a lot. It's amazing how you can be wrong about a lot and have a +8 unit day in Major League Baseball. Just got to be right more than you're wrong, you know. So when it gets to the sticks, the Braves are not hitting, but they're hitting at these two teams are hitting at the nearly exact same level. And if you go back to the last 30 days, the Braves are still hitting righties harder than the Twins. Braves versus righties, 233, 698 OPS. Twins versus righties, 232, 669 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for our game 3 on the board. And as I said, there was this big move to the Twins, but it all happened by 3 p.m. yesterday. It all happened in the first hour and 22 minutes that this line was available. The Twins open up at plus 122, and they get down to plus 100. Then they move back to plus 103. But so there's been 3 cents of buyback, but that's a legit move towards the Twins. From a total standpoint here, we have an 8.5 that's not moving. It's just sitting here. So, it does beg the question, is there a price difference between the first 5 and the full game here for this spot? We have the Twins full game at plus 101 and first 5 minus 104. So the Braves full game are minus 109, first 5 minus 110. Nunya in the house says chop. Hino Ball says he wants the Twins. Turnbuckle Tommy says the last 7 games, last 2 series, the Twins are batting 284 with a 419 slug, 770 OPS, and 117 weighted runs created plus, which destroys what the Braves are doing in the last 7. 215 average, 368 slug, 615 OPS, and 64 weighted runs created plus. I'm certainly not going to be on the other side of you guys. But at this point, I'm just going to sit on the shelf. I did have full game under with question marks, and we talked about it last night. I do have some interest in the full game under here. 59% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on the over. It is a surprise with the way these two teams have been hitting. 56% of the tickets on Atlanta, 91% of the cash on Atlanta. So big bets are coming in on Atlanta, and we've seen a slight move back. Gio Bed says Taj Bradley over 1.5 walks is good money. Dewan saying Braves home run dependent. Twins pitching staff have figured them out, but I do think Braves score and win today, says Dewan. Thomas Maggio loving the Brewers. I guess I'll keep an eye on this under. If this was a hugely public over, I guess there'd be more appeal. Target today is just, there's no weather conditions to be concerned about, not offensive or defensive. So at this point, I'm off. But I guess if the Braves aren't hitting, and the idea is that Taj Bradley is vulnerable, I can get to there to some extent. I can get there to some extent. I'm gonna leave the under as a question mark right now. I'll take a bigger look. I was hoping that over would be more public. Respect what our guys are on. We have the Stacks play of the day, team total over 4.5 for the Braves. The taint play of the day is the Atlanta Braves here. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. In 2:20 p.m. Eastern, all of a sudden we're 3 games in. I have no MLB action for the afternoon, which is okay. I keep telling myself that. We have the Chicago White Sox 65 and 59, 28 and 35 on the road. Chicago Cubs 73 and 53. I guess that's 74 and 53 now. 38 and 26 at home. We pushed with the Cubbies yesterday on the -1 line. Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's get right into the weather conditions here at Wrigley. It's the most run suppressing ballpark on our card today. -17% runs, -16% homers, -15% doubles and triples, and -6% singles here. And we have Newcomb starting out. Newcomb will be there for a short period of time before he hands it off to Jose Urquidy. We talked quite a bit about Urquidy, even though we've only seen him in that one appearance Friday, August 14th, and it wasn't very good at the Tigers. I don't know why this would be any different, really. He hadn't pitched in the big league since April 13th. He looked bad to start the year out of the Pirates bullpen. Then they sent him to AAA Indianapolis, and he was excellent. 3.66 ERA, 1.05 whip over 17 starts. Beautiful K to walk ratio. They send him to AAA Charlotte. Well, it's not they send him. Sorry, the White Sox pick him up they send him to AAA Charlotte. He looks excellent through 3 starts and 12 innings. 2.25 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, and then he doesn't really look good in this last opportunity in a 9-5 win at the Tigers. Shout out to T-Moss in the house. Clay Holmes, on the other hand, 2.56 ERA, 1.07 WHIP. What we've seen from Clay Holmes, he fractured his fibula. He was gone for a long, long time. He had made the 3 rehab starts with the Mets, and then the Cubs picked him up at the deadline. This is a veteran pitcher who's, being a closer. He's being a bullpen piece. He's also being a starter. He has a bad first start as a Chicago Cub. It's August 8th, 6-3 loss at the Royals at Kauffman. And then August 14th, he looks excellent at home versus the Cardinals, which is where he's going to be right now. 6 2/3, doesn't allow a run. I'm a little surprised I'm not already on the Cubs -1 to finish this off here. And TV Jones says, I'm doing it again. Cubs can't keep getting away with this bullshit. White Sox money line. God, wouldn't you just love to watch the game with Spoons and TV Jones? So let's talk about the bullpens. Cubs bullpen, 3.15 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. Been looking strong in playoff type mode. White Sox bullpen, 3.58 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Cubbies versus righties are hitting much harder than the White Sox versus righties. Cubbies versus righties, 258, 772 OPS. White Sox versus righties, 223, 698 OPS. I would want the Cubs full game, even if this first 5 does become appealing here at the books. Let's see what it is. Cubbies are -141 full game, -155 first 5. So there, appears to be a clear advantage here early. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 78% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the Cubs. They're a public play, and the line doesn't appear to be moving the direction. 52% of tickets on the under and 65% of cash on the over. So we have a 5-cent move to the under 8 from -110 to -115. And then on the money line here, we have them sitting here at -141. It opened up at 7:20 a.m. So it had at Bet Online. So they've had 3 hours and 10 minutes to mess with this, and it's just not moving. It's not moving. So I would like to have the market kind of show some concern of all this money on the Chicago Cubs. They're not doing it. I didn't make any money off the Cubs yesterday. That was just a push. Turnbuckle Tommy says White Sox ranked number 14 versus the sinker, which they will see 50% of the time from Holmes. They're a top 10 lineup versus the other 4 pitches they will see from Holmes outside of the sinker. Spooner says we were live last night when the Cubs won and his face turned purple. Okay, well, I need it's funny. I haven't laughed in a while. I do know that this weekend I'll be laughing a lot. Morency, Sports Rage Friday, Woodbine with all the squad on Saturday. Okay, so I have some interest in the Cubs, but I would certainly like to see a sign from the books. This market isn't marinated for a long time, so I would like to see a sign from the books that there's some current concern with all the money on the Cubs. I like seeing that price difference for first 5 in full game. I like seeing that 14-cent price difference. So clearly there's a belief that Holmes will be good. I don't see why everybody else wouldn't follow suit. So let's I'm going to wait on this spot, but you can't wait too long here. Because this game pops off at 2:20 p.m. Okay, let's roll on. Finally, we get to action. Now, I need to preface this a little bit, was that these lines have moved against me, and I have some concern about all of this. We're going to get into Diamondbacks, Boston Red Sox, Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Brandon Pfaadt has been the gift that just keeps giving here, and I'm very thankful that Brandon Pfaadt has been doing this. Let's get into the weather conditions here at Fenway Park, Boston, Massachusetts. We have very offensive weather, plus 18% runs, plus 5% homers, plus 25% doubles and triples, plus 9% singles. And you can see just the weather, this very offensive weather, plus 10% runs, plus 12% homers. So this will help clearly the offenses against 2 very, very good pitchers. Let's talk about Brandon Pfaadt here. I mean, he's just being simply amazing. He's not allowed a run in 4 starts. I mean, the guy is just delivering. The Diamondbacks have won every single start that he's had since he came back up from the minors. And the one start that they didn't win, Fott went 7 innings and didn't allow a run, an extra inning loss at home versus the Dodgers. I knew there were offensive conditions. But I still moved on the first 5 under 4.5, and then I added the first 3 as soon as the show ended. But I had some hesitation here. Ron Lofton says, I wouldn't back my Diamondbacks until they figure the Marte thing out. It has obviously had an effect on the team the last few games. That's important. Turnbuckle Tommy says, Fott is on 4 days rest. His last 2 or 3 starts, he was on 4 days rest, and he looked great. Will this be the bad one? Yeah, I certainly don't have concern when a pitcher's on 4 days rest, unless we have a statistical profile that says it's a real problem for him. Look, Fott has been incredible. I don't see why that would change despite being in offensive conditions here. Let's move on to Peyton Tolley, 8-6, 2.97 ERA, 1.06 whips, got a 2.71 expected ERA. He looks so confident. I mean, this guy looks so confident on the hill. We talk about the pitchers that lose that bulldog mentality, and when they do, we want nothing to do with them. We watched Arrighetti lose it. We watched Hunter Brown lose it at times. Now he's bringing it back. But there's so many pitchers that we've seen just kind of Davis Martin just lose that. I know I'm going to strike this person out. Right now, we have a pitcher here in Tolley that looks like an absolute bulldog on the mound. Nothing concerns him. I was so interested in what he would do after that 14 strikeout performance at home versus the A's against the Jays in Toronto, and he was excellent. 8 innings, struck out 4, walked 2. He didn't really like his stuff. That shows you how a pitcher is elite. It's when they don't really feel like they've got it on that day, and you still see a goose egg in the earned run column. These are 2 very good pitchers in very offensive conditions against teams that are hitting the ball hard. Now, it's a very important point that Ronnie Lofton's making. When it comes to the bullpens, Red Sox bullpen 2.41 ERA, 0.99 whip. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.83 ERA, 1.37 whip. And when it comes to the sticks, Diamondbacks versus lefties 289, 833 OPS. They're smashing them. Red Sox versus righties 269, 791 OPS. TJ says, I've been making money backing Fott, but this opening line movement is telling. Totally reverse splits and will only face 3 lefties. TJ moved on Boston at minus 144. Robert Cherry coming off another strong day in WNBA. I love to see it. And he is on the full game and first 5 under 4. Let's get into the line history here for the spot. I moved on 2 bets. I moved on the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 125 and the first 3 under 2.5 after the show at minus 125. So let's take a look at the line history, and I want to see the price difference right after this for at Pinnacle first 5 and full game. But we've had a massive move towards the Red Sox from minus 135 to minus 160. I have backed Brandon Pfaadt in every single start he's had since coming off the IL. And for me to not already be on him is a sign that I'm seeing things pretty clearly, that I'm not just bullishly going ahead with my thought process, my beliefs, if the market says that's a mistake. I mean, that's a big 25-cent move towards the Boston Red Sox. Big. From a total standpoint here, we have a move to the under, so that's good. But the first time it moved to 8, it moved right back to 8.5. So, this was, almost a pick 'em at 11:09 p.m. last night at 8.5. Now we're back at an 8 again. So that is good. But the fact that it, bounced around like that doesn't make me very comfortable. Jerry Davis says, got a 2-up promo eyeing Diamondbacks plus 150 and Marlins plus 115. Those are not 2 spots that I'm interested in personally, Jerry Davis, but we'll go over all of that. Turnbuckle Tommy says Diamondbacks first 5 was minus 118 about an hour ago at BetMGM. It's down to minus 105 now. Says don't like that movement away from Fott. Spooner says, please, can we get a Brandon regression game? Yeah. Spooner, you can still put his career ERA in the chat to see if it will get to me. So let's get to the cash flow. Let's get to the cash flow for the spot here. I thought that I was going to wait and then move on the first 5 plus a half with Fott, but we have 91% of the tickets on the Red Sox and 69% of the cash, 61% of the tickets on the over, and 53% of the cash on the over. Huh. I mean, so let's look at the price difference here. We have this is a pinnacle first 5 full game price difference. We have the Diamondbacks at plus 147 full game, first 5 plus 148. There's just no reason for me to do anything. There's no reason to do anything. Shout out to 9 Legacy. I'm going to copy and paste. Well, look, I'm already on the unders. I don't need to be, thick-headed and just say, look, I don't care what the market does. It's just not the way I cap. So I think I can just let this go. But I don't feel like I'm fully letting it go. So I'm on the first 3 under 2.5 and the first 5 under 4.5. So those are my moves here, and I don't expect to add anything. The books are certainly not helping here. 4 straight starts, Fought has not allowed a run. I mean, but I trust these books. Mark Sasowski says, I think if we're backing Fought, the early unders are the safe plays. Nasty Nate is on the Red Sox trifecta. 9 Legacy, one of his bets is the Diamondbacks money line. All right, I got 2 bets there. Let's move on. We move on to Marlins, Philadelphia, Phillies. So this will get us started, Jerry, for you. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we'll get into the weather. It's offensive weather, not to the extent of what we just saw at Fenway, but it's plus 11% runs. It's quite offensive. Plus 19% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. And here with this spot, I moved on the first 5 under 4.5 because I was certain I was going to double down on unders because I'm much higher on Nola than a lot of people, and Alcantara has almost been Fought-esque over his last few starts. I believe 1 earned run over his last 4 starts. And I moved on the first 5 under 4.5 as soon as I could. When we saw this first 3 over, what the price was for the first 3 over or the first 3 under, however you want to state it, I was appalled. I was upset. I wouldn't be on this first 5 under 4.5 if I had known that the first 3 over 2.5 would be sitting at minus 135. Look, I understand it's offensive weather, but I felt like I'd put myself in a terrible situation. So I didn't add, obviously, the first 3 over 2.5. I'd like just to see this right now. I know we'll go into our regular routine here, but I would just like to see what this first 3 over is at this point, because I could not believe the minus 135 to the first 3 over. I was, astonished. The first 3 over 2.5 is now minus 120, so it's come back 15 cents. I don't care. And I have not cared in these situations. The fact that the opening line was at that number, it didn't make sense. It didn't correlate with where the full game total was. And the fact that it's moved back down, it's, if gamblers are sitting there saying, oh, the books made a mistake here, if that is their angle, God bless them. But I won't have that angle almost ever. Sandy Alcantara, 13-7, 3.43 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, 3.62 expected ERA. The guy's been an absolute monster. Last 4 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run. He had 3 straight starts of not allowing a run. He had a bad start after the All-Star break, and then he's been absolutely shoving here. And that's a good-looking card. And great lines, Spooner. So Spooner's got 2 spots. Jays Rays first 3 under 2.5, and the Cards Reds first 3 under 2.5, both at minus 110. Spooner utilizing Caesars coming out first with their action. Let me just get this here. I think I got 9 Legacies action, but I want to just make sure I do. I'm going to copy and paste it again here, right under Spooner's action. We'll go over all the plays of the day right at the very end of the show, so keep dropping your plays of the day in the chat. So I moved on the first 5 under 4.5, minus 117. I could got a much better line as soon as Square-Ass Books came out with their lines, which really made me uncomfortable. So let's talk. Obviously, Alcantara is excellent. Let's get into Aaron Nola. It's clear he's pitching better than we've seen him pitch in 2 or 3 years. How good is that now? That's the question. What is the Aaron Nola war at this level? 5.33 ERA, 1.45 WHIP's got a 4.25 expected ERA. Nola, his last start was very good in the Field of Dreams game, 1 earned run over 5 innings. It was quite good at home versus the Jays. If you remember that start, it was extremely offensive conditions. He went up against Scherzer, and they both pitched really well. Nola allowed 2 earned runs over 5 innings. Start before that, he had a quality start at home versus the Nationals, 3 earned runs over 6 innings. Start before that, 1 earned run over 5 2/3 innings. So he's had 4 straight starts where he has being delivering. 4 straight starts where he's been pitching at a high level, and I trust him. Let's get into the bullpens. Phillies bullpen 4.35 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. Marlins bullpen 5.03 ERA, 1.42 WHIP. I mean, they're not to be trusted, and they're exhausted. Phillies versus righties 254, 745 OPS. Very similar numbers to the Marlins versus righties 247, 732 OPS. Turnbuckle Tommy says this will be the third time both lineups see the opposing pitcher. Look, that's a very interesting point because the Phillies historically have destroyed Alcantara. The Phillies have destroyed him, and Alcantara has had some trouble versus lefties. Well, that's not happening this year. And that was a storyline in Alcantara's last start against the Phillies, was that, look, these Phillies have seen him so often, they know him, they're going to... And look, what did he do? It was July 28th, no earned runs over 7 innings versus the Phillies. He shut them down. And the same on, June 17th, 2 earned runs over 6 innings at Philadelphia. Free band's play of the day is in. It is the Minnesota Twins' first 5. So free bands going up. Now, it's not the actual bet going up, but we have taint and stacks with the Braves in different ways. So look, I got that first 5 under 4.5 minus 117, thinking that I would smash these line moves. That hasn't been the case. Let's get into the line history now for this spot. We have an 8.5 just sitting here at minus 110, not moving, just sitting there at minus. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a deeper dive in this 8.5 at minus 110. This came out at 1:47 p.m. yesterday, and it's not moved a cent. So, yesterday, in the 2 spots that hadn't moved or was moving towards the under slightly, with all the money on the under, all the money on the over, we cashed very easily. That was the Royals Athletics under and the Angels under. We, smash and grab those. So we'd like to see that. Here we have a 9-cent move to Aaron Nola from minus 113 to minus 122. So not much, but enough if you do like the Phillies to have some confidence that Nola will pitch well against Alcantara. Let's get into the price difference, first 5 in full game. I'm very interested to see what this is. We have the Phillies minus 125 full game. First 5 minus 116. So there is an advantage with Alcantara. Plus 116 for the Marlins full game and plus 102 first 5. And then the first 5 under 4.5 is plus 100. I mean, look, this is a problem. That's why I didn't add the first 3. I mean, and it was interesting, and I need to say this out loud. I want to have action for the night show. I went 15-6 yesterday, and on the Monday night show, I came in with no action. We just talked out the whole card, and then I bet it, and we destroyed the card. But it is important to note that the first bets that I made, it was the bets that I made in the morning and after our morning bag yesterday, that I cashed 9 straight games to close out the night. My last 9 bets of the day yesterday all cashed, and that was after working with you guys a second time, and those were afternoon bets. I think I'm going to lose this bet. I'm not going to buy out of it, but I expect to lose this bet. TV Jones says Marlins or death. Ain't trusting Nola even if he's been respectable lately. Dudes gives out walks, hits, and a homer a game. Being lucky with the hits, walks haven't been parlayed with someone's homers in those games. TJ says the thing is going to close at 9 with these 2 pitchers. I don't know. I mean, you would expect that, sure, but this is just a pick 'em at 8, right? 8.5 right now. The reason why I brought that up about the action was because I placed these 2 first 5 bets before I saw the first 3 unders. Now, it didn't affect me in the Arizona-Boston game, but it certainly affected me here. So I have the first 5 under 4.5. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm higher on Nola than others, and I don't feel good about this. But I do feel good about our next spot on the board. And TJ saying, wait 2 minutes, your board will update. I will, and I'm interested to see it. 6:35 p.m. Eastern here. And I imagine that in that last game that we just spoke of, that because just flat 8.5 at the legal books too. Okay, here we go. This is very fun. Yankees, Baltimore Orioles, Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to Just My 2 Cents. Pub Sports Radio, MMA. We got MMA Locker Room, Money Mills in the house as well. Great to see you guys. Turnbuckle Tommy got the first 5 over 5 at minus 102. That's an excellent line. So this was a problem for me. This first five wasn't available at a whole bunch of books last night, but it was available at 365, and it was getting late. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, God, I just want action in. So I moved at 365, knowing that I'd probably get a better line if I waited. I got the first five over 5 minus 119. And TV Jones is laying juice with the Yankees and Warren on the road is criminal. We're Oriole Park in Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland. Nice offensive weather for our overs. Teams that can't hit, but nice offensive weather. Plus 13% runs, plus 5% homers, plus 8% doubles and triples, and plus 11% singles. Let's talk about Will Warren here. 4.42 ERA, 1.41 WHIP, 4.56 expected ERA. So, I mean, it's a pretty fun, and we should. This is a kind of important. We talk about all these lessons in capping, but when they didn't want to start, they didn't start him after the All-Star break. He had to find a bullpen game, not a bullpen. He was a piece in the bullpen. He threw 2/3 of an inning. So after the All-Star break, he didn't get a start till July 26th, and he got lit up in that start. I thought they were hiding him, and I was like, look, he's not pitching well. They know it, and I faded him, and then he went into Wrigley Field and was spectacular. Doesn't allow a run over 6 2/3, makes me look like an idiot. And then he comes back, has an okay start at home versus the Cardinals, and then he gets touched up for 5 earned runs over 4 innings at home versus the Mariners. The way I see it, he is a vulnerable pitcher. And just because I was wrong on that July 31st start doesn't mean I won't be right overall. And sometimes we have a bias when we're wrong and blatantly wrong and publicly wrong. We're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that again. But no, it was just some lucky start. Now, that does mean that I don't fully know what the hell Will Warren's going to do, as much as I'm confident with him not pitching well. I don't really know what he's going to do. That last start on the road at Wrigley Field 2 starts ago was very, very good. But I think it was an outlier performance, and I want to fade him. Now let's talk about Chris Bassett. So I don't want to get into the whole diatribe from last night, but the Orioles brass are complete idiots. They've done such a terrible job with their talent pool. They've done what kind of idiot would sign Chris Bassett after he throws 600 innings in his 3-year signing with the Toronto Blue Jays? I mean, what are you thinking? What that this mid 30s pitcher is going to be all good? He's just going to rack up 200 innings a year and he's a character guy? No, he's spent. So, he has a surgery to remove bone spurs from his back. That's what happens when you throw 200 innings a year and you're in your mid-30s. Something's going to go wrong. Idiots. So he's, bone spurs in his back. Shout out to Paco Healy. We had the great Paco Healy, OG Lowbagger in the chat yesterday. And he's, in this field, and he was telling us how complicated and difficult the surgery to remove bone spurs is. He makes 3 rehab starts at AAA Norfolk, and he looks really good in them. And then if you look at his start Friday, August 14th at the Rays, who are a really good team that keep attacking you, you're like, oh, he had a good start. 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, 3 Ks, 3 walks. He gets ground balls, and he was fortunate that ground balls went to fielders. Because in that whole start for Bassett, he had 2 swing and misses, 2 whiffs in the entire start. He was lucky. He was extremely fortunate. And if he's going to generate 2 swing and misses, the Orioles are going to lose all of his starts. So let's get into the bullpens. Orioles bullpen, 4.09 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Sort of moving in the wrong direction, but it has been pretty good. Then we have Yankees bullpen, 3.08 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. And then when it comes to the sticks, these teams aren't hitting, which obviously makes betting an over uncomfortable. And it's a high over. It's a very expensive over. The first 5 over 5 is, a wildly expensive over for 2 teams that aren't hitting. The Orioles versus righties, 216, 667 OPS, and that towers over what the Yankees are doing the last 30 days versus righties, 193, 614 OPS. So let's get into the line history here for this spot. Had 3 cents of movement towards Will Warren from minus 115 to minus 118. Obviously, the Yankees have a rich history against Bassett from these last 3 years in the AL East. Well, now 4th year in the AL East. This total is a 9, minus 120 to the over. It opened up minus 115 to the over. There wasn't a move for 6 hours, and then there was a 5-cent move. When it comes to the price difference, and again, Pinnacle didn't have the first 5s up for me to line shop last night. We have the Yankees minus 117 full game. First 5 minus 114, so there's really no advantage. And look at this. So first 5 over 5 is minus 117. Well, that makes me feel much better. Okay, that makes me feel much better. I thought it was going to be a much lower number. Great job on Tommy getting a very low vig on that first 5 over 5. When it comes to the cash flow, you have 70% of the tickets, 73% of cash on the Yankees. We have 57% of the tickets on the under, but 83% of cash on the over. And it's, the nines are juiced to the over. I'm quite comfortable with my situation. This is the first game where I'm like, look, I feel very good about this situation. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us, 6:40 p.m. Eastern, the San Francisco Giants at the Cleveland Guardians. Giants 51-73, 22-40 on the road. Guardians 60-65, 29-33 at home. We're at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Look, I thought that this was going to be Adrian Hauser pitching, and we've had a very, very good read on Hauser's last couple appearances. Very good, and it's been making us a lot of money. I thought with the situation with Hauser and Messick that this would be our second triple up on a total of the year. We cashed our first one, all 3, and I thought I was going to do it again. I was up. Well, look, now we have 23-year-old Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, born and raised in my hometown, Vancouver, British Columbia. Went to high school in the Okotoks in Alberta, and the guy is a beloved pitcher, and he's. They love him in every clubhouse he goes to. He pitched for Canada in the WBC, just 2 2/3, but he looked good in those 2 2/3. This year, he started in rookie ball, went to AA Richmond, then the AAA Sacramento as well. And he was a Guardian, so he came over in the Patrick Bailey trade. So he had starts in Akron as well before he came over to the Giants in the Bailey trade. Then he was pitching in Sacramento. He made 10 starts in Sacramento. In Sacramento, he had a 5.15 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, but it's the Pacific Coast League. If you look at his numbers in AA Akron, and then he went to AA Richmond first when he was traded to the Giants organization, he was shoving in AA. So he's going up against Parker Messick, the Bulldog. Absolute a bulldog here. 2.59 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. Jerry Davis on Messick for the win at plus 105. That makes sense. When we talk about Messick, he's extremely professional, extremely accountable. When was the last time he allowed over 2 earned runs? We did this yesterday. Oh, I guess it has been that long. 3, 4, 5, 6. Last 7 starts he hasn't. He's been excellent. Last start 5 2/3, 2 earned runs, and the 3-0 loss at the Tigers. Start before that, 2 earned runs over 7 innings at the White Sox. When he has a bad start like he did at home versus Arizona, he still allows 1 earned run over just 4 1/3. He just doesn't go deep into the game. He's very good. The opening line was surprising. The opening lines for these 2 games that we have, pitchers making their major league debut, were surprising that, that there was some respect in the marketplace for these young pitchers. So, now we've had this massive move to the Guardians. So last night, the massive move to the Guardians, yesterday, came for the Tuesday, August 18th Guardians game. It came Monday night during our show. There was a 25-30 cent move during our show. As soon as I got off the show, I moved on the first 5 minus half, full game minus 1. It was very, very easy. This move happened much later, and it's because the line wasn't available at first. So bullpen-wise, Guardians bullpen's been a problem. 4.71 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. Giants bullpen 4.17 ERA, 1.47 WHIP. Woo Rizza like in the under in this one. Shout out to AOD in the house. When it comes to the sticks, the Giants are not hitting. I mean, they're against lefties, they're hitting 192 with a 544 OPS. I mean, it's just horrific. Guardians versus righties, they don't have power versus righties right now. 245, 692 OPS. We imagine that will change with the reinforcements that they added the deadline with Ramirez coming back, but that doesn't seem to be the case. We get to the line history here for this one. We have, here we go. We have an 8-cent move towards the over. This didn't come out till 1:02 this morning, and it came out at a 7. At a 7. With Tugboat Wilkinson in his major league debut. I mean, it's a very low total. 8 cents of movement towards the over. I mean, the total, with the line not moving at first and the total so low, it would be implying that that Wilkinson will be really good here. We've had this massive move to the Guardians from minus 175 to minus 212. I mean, last night when this line came out, I was waiting. There was 2 cents of movement after 41 minutes and then nothing till 8:22 a.m. So yes, it makes sense that the movement's now, but it's too late to make a move on a -1 here, especially with such a low total and the implied volatility being so low in this baseball game. And we'll look at the price difference between first 5 and full game here. And again, this line, wasn't available. It's available now. Wasn't available last night before I went to sleep at Pinnacle. Minus 213 full game for the Guardians. First 5 are minus 208. The Giants are plus 193 full game. First 5 plus 176. This is, put me in a situation. Oh, and I gave the Guardians versus righty stats. I apologize for that. I was still had that set up for Adrian Hauser. And it's Guardians versus lefties, of course. And the Guardians versus lefties, 86 runs created on the season. Not hitting. Look, there's nothing I can do here. There's nothing I can do here. This line's moved too far. We're talking about low volatility situation. The line hadn't moved. It didn't move for 7 hours. Why would it not move for 7 hours? When it was so clear that Parker Messick is a monster in this situation. So, look, I probably should have just backed Parker Messick right away, but I didn't. And I'll deal with those consequences by not having action in this baseball game. So we roll on. St. Louis Cardinals at Cincinnati Reds. It's funny with now we get to, there's an action that I was uncomfortable with that I made last night. Now we're going to get to action that I'm very comfortable with. And it starts here with Cardinals, Reds, Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati, Ohio. I thought the chat was so good last night on the nightly bag and really helped in this game. Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Very offensive conditions. So, it's quite a similar situation as to what we're dealing with at Fenway. Now I think Liberatore has got gas cannery in his blood, but this is a Reds team that's not hitting lefties. They're hitting lefties like the Giants are hitting lefties. They look terrible. Liberatore I don't trust, and he's cost me money. He's one of those pitchers where if I back him, he screws me. If I fade him, he pitches well. Looks like we are going to have some weather issues here. Godfather on the Reds money line. And then Thomas Madger says Reds, but might rain. Let's just take a closer look at this Cincinnati weather here. I know we went over it last night. I thought I was comfortable with it last night, but this doesn't look very good. So we have light rain starting at 5, rain showers at 8, rain showers throughout. This game might not go. Sweetie says only 11% chance of rain at first pitch. I've got the full rain showers don't start till 8. 65% chance of precipitation, but I have 40% precipitation leading up to the game. But 11% is not bad. This does make me uncomfortable here. That the weather, but the situation doesn't. So let's roll into the spot. First off, I'll let you guys know my action. I'm on the first 3 under 2.5 and the first 5 under 4.5. I got the exact same prices as Arizona Boston. The exact same prices, both offensive conditions. So let's talk about Liberatore, 5 and 10 here. Rod's Wax said rainy game last night. I know. I remember going over it, and I felt comfortable with it, going over the weather, but certainly don't now. You were absolutely right, Rod. Turnbuckle Tommy's on the first 3 under 2.5 as well, and the first 5 -1/2. There's the sweaty butcher in the house. Can't wait for the plays of the day from the sweaty butcher come football season. Prime cut. Let's talk about Liberatore, though. Liberatore has been good. That start on August 14th, obviously the market indicated that he was going to pitch very well, and he did exactly that. 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. The start before that at home was ugly. And if we are looking for ugly starts, we find them at home. On the road, the last 2 starts, he's been great. Now, if we go back 3 starts, he was bad in Anaheim. So I don't want to get too caught up in it. I think the bigger thing is when he goes up against teams that can't hit lefties, they don't hit him. Let's talk about Chase Burns, 2.47 ERA, 1.09 whips, got a 3.04 expected ERA. Burns looked incredible in that game in offensive conditions against Alcantara. I mean, absolutely it doesn't allow a run, strikes out 8. Those were very offensive conditions. It was a beautiful bounce back start from that 5 earned runs that he had the previous game at the Nationals on Saturday, August 8th. So he's had 5 starts since coming off of the IL. He was tight right groin. It wasn't quite an IL stint. He just used it over the All-Star break to not pitch in the All-Star game to prioritize his recovery for the second half of the season. He's had 5 starts, and he's only had that one bad start versus the Nationals. He's pitching very well. When it comes to the bullpens, I don't trust either of these bullpens, but the Reds' bullpen is probably more trustworthy than the Cardinals at this point. Reds bullpen 4.34 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. Cardinals bullpen 4.16 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. It's the sticks where this was talking to me. The Reds versus lefties are abysmal. Abysmal. And look, we have an absolutely exhausted bullpen here. 4 pitchers have gone back to back. But I'm only focusing on the first 3s and the first 5s at this point. And I do have a concern now about this game even going. Dougie Y says he was close to betting the Reds here. The Reds are hitting 204, 587 OPS. I would have already been on the Reds if I thought, look, I didn't even take the Reds first 5 minus a half because I thought there was a legitimate possibility that we're sitting here 0-0 or 1-1 after 5 innings. And I screwed up in the Guardian spot yesterday where we knew the Guardians were a smash and grab, first 5 minus half, full game minus 1, but I lose on the first 3 under 2.5. I don't want to put myself in any kind of danger here. Rod's Wax says, bet on Chase Burns on the run line when his team is off a loss. Burns' team records during the 2026 season is 11-2. Let's get into this line history. We have this opening up at minus 141 for the Reds. They're now minus 149. This line moved against the Reds. When it first became available, there was an 12 cents away from the Reds, 11-cent move towards the Cardinals. Now that's with limits, but that's sharp action right away. And then, the amount of action coming in on the other side moves it back. But that was interesting. And then we have 5 cents of movement towards the under 8.5. It's gone from minus 110 to minus 115. And Jerry Davis says on the season, Reds are almost 20 points higher against left-handed pitching. Yeah, I don't look ever. I like that Turnbuckle Tommy puts the season stats in the chat. I think they're helpful. But for me, I just want the last 30 days. I know a lot of the cappers, like TJ, he just wants the last 14 days. He doesn't even want, 30. But I only care about, what have you been doing for us lately in gambling here. Let's take a look at the price difference here for first 5 and full game. I'd also like to quickly see what this first 3 under is at, whether or not, it's still bettable. Here we have the Reds minus 144 full game. So last night, I believe it was minus 144, minus 159. It might have been minus 142 and minus 159, but it was basically the same line for the Reds. And now it's minus 165 for the Reds. So the first 5 minus half is minus 113. Look, I think that's well. I mean, I could easily add the Reds first 5 minus a half easily. But I am uncomfortable. I mean, Turnbuckle Tommy says Reds might not be hitting left-hand pitching, but Cardinals are hitting right-handers either. Reds numbers for left-hand pitching is much better than Cardinals numbers for right-hand pitching. Again, that's all season long. Over the last 30 days, the Cardinals are hitting righties much harder than the Reds are hitting lefties. Cardinals versus righties last 30 days, 250, 662 OPS. Reds versus lefties, 204, 587 OPS. Maybe much is a little dramatic. So, I got the first 3 under and the first 5 under. I'd like to see what this first 3 under is right now. See if there's any CLV. And then we're going to have to do that again in the Jays game coming up right after this. So the first 3 under right now is minus 135 to the under. So it's moved 10 cents in my direction. I'll take it. I feel you, Jerry. If the season-wide numbers resonate for you, we don't need to take the same path to the bag. We just got to get to the bag. All right. So let's roll on. I'm on the first 3 under and the first 5 under. And the Reds' inability to hit lefties will keep me off the first 5 minus half. I could easily be leaving money on the table here. But TJ says if St. Louis gets to the plus 142 range, he will bet them. Johnny Bender, Cards first 5 plus 150 in his pocket. And TV Jones says minus 130 or lower, he'd be on the Reds. And he likes the under too. All right, so let's roll on to Blue Jays Rays. I love this game. Trop in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have Maximus Scherzer on the hill. And then I went on a long fucking rant about old Gampy Scherzer. I won't get into it here. I don't need to play the part of old Gampy Scherzer because that's his new nickname. It was Crazy Eyes Killer. That's gone. Now he's Gampy. Now Gampy is healthy for the first time. Now, if your grandfather told you, at 85, he's like, look, I'm healthy, I'm feeling good, you'd say, no, you're drunk. But here, Scherzer is just 41. Our Gampy's only 41 here, and he is healthy. He was on the 15-day IL in late April. Right forearm tendonitis, left ankle inflammation. During the rehab, he had a right thumb issue, and Gampy looked terrible. Wednesday, June 10th, his one start, he looked terrible, and then he went immediately to the IL with back spasms. There's our guy Topset in the house. TJ says first bet he made was Toronto first 5 plus a half at plus 128. And Topset, when we were breaking this game down, moved on the Jays first 3 plus a half. The thing for me was I was going to have 2 units on this baseball game, and I had 3 bets that I was interested in. The first 3 under 2.5, the first 5 under, and then the Jays first 3 plus a half. They were all interesting to me, and they all correlate the way I see the game. Back to Scherzer, though. He went on the IL for back spasms, and he was on the IL for 6 weeks. When he came out for the IL, he was ready to go. And he showed that by having he was perfect through 5 innings in a rehab start at AAA Buffalo. So that first start, he was perfect in his rehab start, so I didn't want to touch him. I wanted to see what he did. And he allowed 1 earned run over 2 2/3. He walked 3 batters. He battled. In his next start at home versus the Cardinals, look, the Cardinals were the weakest hitting team in Major League Baseball at the time with the Jays and the Yankees, but he shut down the Cardinals at home. I watched him. He looked very good. 1 earned run over 6 innings. The impressive start was the next start versus Nola in extremely offensive conditions at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. He looked excellent. 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. They were solo shots. He didn't walk a batter. He looked very good. And then Thursday, August 13th, at home versus the Red Sox, he looked really good again. 5 innings over 1 earned run. And now that the fact that the Jays are in this wild card race with a bunch of after-ends as well, has got him pumped up. I mean, this could be his last hurrah, and he's pitching at a very high level here. So TJ says, problem there is if Max flops, you lose 3 bets. Yeah, there was 0 chance I was making 3 bets. That was the whole point of that I had to pick between 2 of those bets. So we're on the same page there. TV Jones says Scherzer's been fantastic post IL, under or Blue Jays. Rays struggling offensively, but Rasmussen solid. But Blue Jays bats showing up now. So let's get into Drew Rasmussen here. Let's get into Drew Rasmussen. And Turnbuckle Tommy saying this will be the 4th season of JC Rasmussen here. Rasmussen 12-5, 2.78 ERA, 0.91 whip, 3.10 expected ERA. And Rasmussen is a beast, even when he doesn't have it. Like at Sutter Health Park, he just didn't seem to have it that day, and he still pitched very, very well. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 Ks, 1 walk, and 8-4 win at the Athletics. The start before that, he shoved at the Mariners. He had the similar to Fott and Alcantara, well, really similar to Alcantara, because he'd had 3 straight starts not allowing a run, and then he got touched up for 2 earned runs at Sutter Health Park. He's pitching phenomenally well. Rays bullpen, 3.68 ERA, 1.08 whip, very professional. The Jays bullpen actually has pretty good numbers. 3.43 ERA, 1.44 whip. And I don't trust them at all. But they seem to be getting the job done. I'm not sure how long that will last. When it comes to the sticks, it's a huge difference. The Rays versus righties, 280, 803 OPS. They're hitting hard. And the Jays are not. 245, 667 OPS. So I moved on 2 bets. I left alone that Jays first 3 plus a half. As I said, I couldn't have 3 units on this game. I wanted the first 3 under 2.5. I bet it during the show. And it was a 7.5 at -110 each way. And Sharpie asked, why am I moving on it if I was expecting it to be more expensive? The first 3 under 2.5 -135. I think that's where the line should be at a 7.5 for the pick'em at 365. Because they have 40 cents of VIG, 20 each way on these first 3s. I thought that -135 is where it should start, and then it should move. And I said to Sharpie, I was like, I'm betting it now because I expect it to be -155 when we come to the show, or at least when I wake up in the morning. When I woke up in the morning, that was not the case. It was -140. It had moved 5 cents, and I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with that. Let's take a look at it now. I wanted more, obviously, and now it's -150. Okay, so there we go. So I told Sharpie the reason why I'm betting it now is because it'll be -155 in the morning. Now it's -150. I think that's absolutely great. I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 at -117 as well. Let's see this price difference at Penny here. So let's take a look at this price difference here for Penny. We got the Rays minus 196 full game. At first 5 minus 202. And that first 5 under 4.5 is minus 144. So I got minus 117 last night. Feels good. Feels very, very good. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to cash, but CLV is like a comfort. You know, it is a scotch after work. Okay, so I'm in first 3 under and first 5 under. I like Elio's first 3 plus a half, but, you know, as, you know, TJ was saying that I don't want to have 3 units on trusting Gampy. Fucking Gampy. But Gampy looks very healthy right now. God is whiskey. All right, so let's just take a quick look at the line history full. We have this opened up at an 8, minus 117 to the over. Now it's a 7.5, minus 125 to the under. I think that's telling us that Scherzer's going to pitch well. The problem is, you know, if it's 1-0 Rays after 3 innings, I want all the money. You know, I don't want to give anything back, but I still really like where he's at. This opened up minus 205 for the Rays. Now they're minus 198, so a slight move towards the Blue Jays. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Athletics Kansas City Royals. We're Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. When is Gage Jump going to be announced to pitch? And is he not here? So Kauffman Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. We do know that Seth Lugo will be pitching, but I don't know why Gage Jump hasn't been announced. I thought I have RotoWire up. So let's just see what they've got here for this. And come on. Are they not going to... They have Jeffrey Springs, and that's what RotoWire's Jeffrey Springs, and that's what Rod was talking about last night. He was like, he sees Jeffrey Springs. You know, we obviously, does anybody have any idea? Godfather says is it Springs? The books are not. So this wasn't available at Penny when I woke up this morning. It's available at 365 with no pitcher listed for the A's. The plus 145 tells me it's Springs and not Jump. Because Gage Jump, I think, should be probably bet at this. You know, I would bet him at this number. I want to Swig saying CBS is reporting Springs. Again, you know, you know, and okay, Turnbuckle Tommy says he is seeing Springs. Okay, so let's let Gage Jump go at this point, and let's go over Springs here. And I was really hoping that this was going to be Gage Jump. I thought, what an opportunity to... Now, the thing, there's still possibly an opportunity here with Springs. Now, we haven't seen him in 18 days. So if CBS is reporting... I just want to see this report before I put too much time into it. Jeffrey Springs. Let's get over to CBS here. So they should be telling us here that slated to rejoin the rotation at some point during the upcoming week. So he's been out with a hip injury. We don't know. They said either Wednesday or Thursday in Kansas City. It was right hip discomfort. He went on the IL August 4th. Was able to restart a throwing program a day later. He reported to Single-A Stockton. He made one lone rehab start last Friday through 59 pitches, 41 for strikes, struck out 4, allowed 5 hits, didn't walk by over 3 innings. Interesting. So it's not an arm ailment, which probably will help, you know, a 33-year-old vet like Jeffrey Springs. You know, he's just been so bad this year, but this is probably the situation where, you know, oh, and look, MGM has Gage Jump. So, look, I imagine that both lefties can probably slow down this Kansas Royals team that's hitting 211, 627 last 30 days versus lefties. I imagine. We have TJ on the A's team, total over 3.5. Says it's a must bet. Says Lugo rolls out of bed and gives up at least 3. Terrible bend behind him, and Lugo is done, says TJ. You know, I've had it with TJ is just, sorry, not with TJ, sorry, with Seth Lugo is what he's done at home. So his last 3 starts at home, you know, they've all been quality starts. So he's only had 3 starts at home since July 1st. So he has a quality start against the Cubs at home. That's not easy on Saturday, August 8th. 3 earned runs over 6 innings. And then at home versus the Giants, 3 earned runs over 7 innings on July 22nd. Oh, his last 4 starts, 4 straight quality starts. Then he allows 1 earned run over 6 innings at home versus the Padres on July 17th, that first start after the All-Star break. The last home start before the All-Star break was July 1st, another quality start, 3 earned runs over 6 innings, struck out 7, walked 0. So there's a clear, difference between him at home on the road, but he's terrible on the road. And Spooner says no way he's pitching props available at his book. So I think that 3.5 is a great number. Don't get me wrong. Both bullpens have looked they're the 2 worst bullpens in the league over the last 30 days, but they've looked slightly better of late. Royals bullpen 4.95 ERA, 1.51 WHIP. The Athletics bullpen 6.30 ERA, 1.61 WHIP. Athletics versus righties 257.49 last 30 days. They're actually starting to hit them again. And Royals versus lefties 211, 627 OPS. Let's not spend any more time on this game. Let's just wait and see who will be in. The Royals have gone from minus 143 to minus 157 here. And then, if it is Springs, I wonder if I can get past the Royals' inability to hit lefties and back Lugo over Springs. I can't. Springs is a pitcher who's probably dealing with arm fatigue. These soft-tossing lefties, when they get a little break, can be okay. I'm not going to do it. When it comes to the total, we're sitting here at 8.5, minus 115 to the under. So, and Jerry Davis is going back, totally made a start against the Diamondbacks last year, and they rocked him in 3 innings. Interesting. Jerry, I think that he is a bulldog on the mound right now. We see how much the psychological, the confidence, all that stuff affects these pitchers. He's just so different than he was last year. But I hear what you're saying. Let's move on to 7:40 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Mariners at the Milwaukee Brewers. This was extremely enjoyable to break down this game last night on our show. And by the time we were done breaking it down, we spent a lot of time on it. Obviously, the game was going on. It was 21-0 or whatever it was, 22-0. And we were talking about why are the Mariners so cheap. And as we broke it down, Rod Zawacki said, focus on the unders. Focus on the unders because Gilbert's going to deal here. And I like Dustin May. And so when I sat with so I copied and pasted all of these thoughts from the chat in this game, and I was, we capped it and broke it all down. And then when I was sitting there, after the show, ready to put in my action, I became very confident in this game, in my action here. And I could move on the Mariners full game. It's possible. Wine time is on the Mariners money line plus 105 for 2 units. Let's talk about, first my action here, of which I'm very confident in and could. I almost moved on the Mariners this morning. I only added 1 bet this morning. That was Nationals' first 5. But I'm on the first 3 under 2 at plus 102 and the first 5 under 4 at minus 123. The first 5 under 4 at minus 123 was so appealing. I almost bet more than a unit on it. I didn't. But it was so appealing that I do have 1.25 on the 4 and on the 2. But I almost bet more than I bet on the first 3. I almost bet more than on the first 3 because it just seemed so appealing to need 5 runs against Logan Gilbert and Dusty May to lose this bet. So I'm quite confident here on this spot. Quite confident. So let's get into it here. First off, we have run-suppressing weather in American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Minus 10% runs, minus 2% homers, minus 11% doubles and triples, minus 12% singles. We have Logan Gilbert on the hill, 3.28 ERA, 0.99 whips, got a 3.67 expected ERA. TJ says the Mariners are not a team I trust to simply bounce back because they got their asses stomped. No pride on that team, no swag, bunch of bums who can't hit versus the best team in baseball with an available pen. Unders and the Brewers for TJ. Interesting. And Topset says I still believe May is the weak link. I can understand that here from the market. Last start for Gilbert was a thing of beauty at the Yankees. He's pitching so well on the road. He's just delivering in every single road opportunity he gets. If we cut out the home starts, the 2 starts back July 26th at the Rangers wasn't that good. 3 runs over 5 2/3, but I mean he's 1 out away from a quality start. He got that I guess he didn't get a quality start at the Rays. I guess I take that back. I guess it's more of a vividness bias. And then of course his last start at the Yankees. here. So let's get to but it certainly feels by the marketplace that Logan Gilbert's going to absolutely shove in this situation. Let's get into Dustin May, 6-7, 4.13 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. He's got a 4.02 expected ERA. Thomas Maggio also on the Brewers here. Dustin May is being so good. I mean, if he didn't have that back element when he was trying to go for the no-hitter, he had the one hitter over 9. That back ailment really screwed up his statistical profile. I mean, after that issue, the next start he goes 2 innings, allows 6 earned runs. Then they skip his start, and then he comes back. He goes 2/3 of an inning, allows 5 earned runs. So he allows 11 earned runs in those 2 2/3. Also, if you want to talk about a statistical profile, he allowed 13 earned runs in his first 2 starts over 7 1/3. His first 2 starts as a Cardinal. If you take out those 4 starts, now of course we don't talk like that, but if you did, he's got the best numbers in baseball. He's been so good. He looked very good in the 2 starts before the trade deadline. He moves over to the Brewers, and he's allowed 3 earned runs over 13 innings. He's only allowed 7 hits in those 13 innings. He's just a pitcher that I believe in. Now, I can understand with how cheap the Brewers are that one could think that Dustin May is a weak link. I can see how those dots can be connected. When we get to the bullpens, Brewers bullpen 3.28 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. Mariners bullpen 5.18 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. Mariners bullpen's a problem, and we thought they were going to be really good this year. Seems just to be getting worse by the day. When it comes to the sticks, Mariners versus righties 236, 698 OPS. Brewers versus righties 242, 708 OPS. Let's get into the line history here. This is a 7. It opened up at 7.5 minus 125 to the under. It didn't move to an official 7 until 7:10 a.m. this morning, but. This was moving towards the over. When we did our show last night, there had been a 15-cent move towards the over. The good thing was that there was a nice big 12-cent move back to the under during the show, and I had no concern about moving on unders. We get to the money line here. When we get to the money line, we have a 5-cent move towards the Mariners at plus 107. So, very, very cheap backing the Brew Crew. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, over to Interleague, we have 81% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on Milwaukee, 77% of tickets on the over, and 55% of the cash is on the over. Interestingly enough, the second most expensive spot on the legal books to back the Brewers is Circa. And when we look at the price difference here, first 5 in full game, for those of you thinking of still moving on Mariners, Brewers, we have the Brewers minus 121 full game, first 5 minus 113. The Mariners are plus 112 full game, first 5 minus 101. So a 13-cent difference for the Mariners is pretty big here. And I guess there's no more, I don't see. I guess when it comes down to it here, we have a Seattle Mariners team that's 11 games under 500 on the road, and a Brewers team that's 19 games over 500 at home. So the fact that this is pretty close to a pick'em doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And it makes me want to back the Mariners. I understand why. TJ's thought process about them not having heart. But then TJ is trusting his X's and O's over the market, which I think is absolutely fine. If you have conviction, look, trust it. There's nothing wrong with that. TV Jones says Brewers have been disrespected price-wise majority of the year, even though they've been one of the best teams all year. I thought that they were being disrespected at minus 150 yesterday. Or no, sorry, on the Kyle Harrison start. So, I think the Mariners have to be bad. The first 5 under 4, by the way, is minus 142. I got that minus 123, so I'm happy about that. So, look, I think the Mariners have to be bad. Nothing's changed. I came very close to betting this. I just wanted to talk it out some more. And I'm happy I did. And it's not, I don't have more confidence at all, the fact that TJ and TV Jones are on the other side. But I think that the Mariners must be, and I'm going to bet them. And Londo cashing his hot Swedish girlfriend play today. We had so many it was a really nice squad ride on the Brewers yesterday. I'm going to bet the Mariners. Deal with those consequences. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board here, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals at the Texas Rangers. This line was nuts to me. This line made no sense. We have Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. We have Cade Cavalli going up against Kumar Rocker. Now, we thought it was going to be DeGrom, and I was just waiting patiently to fade DeGrom. And then when the line came out, I thought that it was the equivalent of DeGrom and how bad he's looked, and he's we'll go over all the why he was pulled from the game and all that tomorrow when we expect him to pitch. So I couldn't understand why it was plus 128 at Bet Online. Like I was waiting to bet early, not like first threes and first fives. They weren't available. I was like, well, am I going to let this plus 128 just sit here and not bet it, even though I don't want the full game? And I was like, no, bet this plus 128. So I bet the plus 128 here and on the full game. And then this morning, I added the first five. Now, I got plus 109 on the first five. My plan was to be on just the first three and the first five on Cavalli. And I wasn't that confident in it just because I don't like backing a pitcher after a career performance, and Cavalli just did that. Now, one of the things I think about Cavalli is he's a bulldog right now. I mean, he's walking on the mound like he owns it, and he's just, he knows that he is the guy on this rotation moving forward. So, but again, if that plus 128 wasn't staring at me, which I knew didn't make sense, it just the line was off in my opinion. Then I would just be on the first three and first five. But I'm on the first five plus 109, the full game plus 128. The implied probability is spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Let's talk about Cavalli. That last start was incredible. 8 innings, 1 hit, 10 Ks, 2 walks. Now, the books told us that he was going to do that, so we all cashed on it. I didn't go in there thinking, the Nats are going to stop the sweep. It was just the line was insane. It was so short. So 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks. But he'd been the most professional pitcher in baseball. He'd been putting together Yamamoto starts. Every start was 6 innings. Every start was a quality start. He'd had 6 straight quality starts at exactly 6 innings. And then he shoved at home versus the Cubs. So I like him. Let's talk about Kumar Rocker. We thought that Kumar Rocker was going to have it was easy to say it's such a terrible 2025 that he was going to have a better 2026 than he had in 2025. Easy. And then that first month of the year, we're like, look, Kumar Rocker's bet on. Even the first 6 weeks or 2 months, he just seems to be looking a little worse and a little more vulnerable every single day. Londo is in with the hot Swedish girlfriend play of the day. Let me make sure I got that copied and pasted. That is in our next game. We will be discussing that here in a second. But here, Kumar Rocker just doesn't look very good. Now, he did have a quality start on July 27th at home versus the Mariners, a real weak-hitting squad. But these last 3 starts have been bad. 5 1/3, 3 earned runs at the Astros, 3 innings, 6 earned runs at home versus the Orioles, and then 3 earned runs over 5 innings. Now, that was at Sutter Health Park. But that means that we've now gone 13 1/3 innings. He's allowed 21 hits, 12 earned runs, 3 homers. He has struck out 13, and he's walked 9. Look, he doesn't look good right now. He's got some talent, and this Rangers lineup is so different with a healthy Kyle Seager in there. God, they're just so different with Kyle Seager. We get to the bullpens. Rangers bullpen, 4.87 ERA, 1.49 whip, being a problem. Nats bullpen, 4.12 ERA, 1.32 whip. That made it a little easier to back the Nationals full game with that plus 128, which was astounding to me. And then the Nats versus righties, the numbers are dropping slightly, but they're still hitting 252, 756 OPS. Rangers versus righties, 232, 678 OPS. Let's get into the line history here. We still have a very high number on the Nats, which does make me nervous. Plus 119. Open up at plus 108, but I'm nervous about this spot. I mean, the Nats should be much, much more expensive, I think. Then we get to the total. We have a 7.5 minus 114 to the over. Very low total. 4 cents of movement towards that over. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, you have 60% of tickets on Texas and 9% of the cash. All makes me nervous. 58% tickets on the over, 54% cash on the under. So I've moved on both bets. First 5 full game on the Nationals. Let's roll on because this is a very, very, very fun spot here in our next game. And Walbert Urena, Angels, Astros. There's no pitcher in Major League Baseball, who has made us more money than Walbert Urena. And we've been cashing 4 units on a lot of Walbert Urena starts, backing him first 3 and first 5, and backing the first 3 under and the first 5 under. When you break down what his profile looks like, Walbert Urena has thrown 6 1/3 innings on the road since July 1st. It's August 19th. We have been backing Walbert Urena completely in his comfort zone, in his rhythm, pitching at home every 5 days. Now he has 6 days rest and he's back on the road. In those 6 1/3 innings on the road. Now, look, I'm not setting this up to back the Astros. And Jerry says that Urena shut down the Astros twice already. I'm setting this up to say I understood why this line was absolutely ridiculous. And look at TV Jones saying Walbert at plus 141 is ridiculous versus debut arm. It is such a ridiculous line here. Do I know a Wu or Miller has not made me more than Urena's made me more money than any pitcher this I was making 4 units a game on a bunch of his games. So that is a problem. And you guys may not find it a problem. I am saying this from a guy who's made more money off this pitcher than any pitcher in Major League Baseball. That he's pitched 6 1/3 innings, 2 starts on the road since July 1st. Shout out to Steve G in the house. So we have I guess no, because he had to start since July 2nd. Huh. Wait a minute. At home. Wait. So August 8th he goes for 2 1/3 at the Marlins. I thought I was so clear with this. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Then July 8th was the road start. So he actually had a road start at the Mariners that was very good July 2nd. So let's go. So let's say from July 3rd on. So July 8th, he goes 4 innings in a 13-1 win at the Rangers. He walked 5 batters versus the Rangers in that start. And then he has the All-Star break. He pitches at home versus the Cardinals, who can't hit, destroys them. He pitches at home versus the Astros, destroys them. He pitches at home versus a tough team in the Brewers and destroys them. He allows 2 earned runs over 18 innings. And then he goes out on the road to Miami, and he goes 2/3 of an inning. Now, we backed him, immediately in that last start, when he went up against the Rangers. We backed him immediately. And it was a bounce-back start for him at home. So look, that's crazy. Now let's talk about Ethan Peko, a 6th-round pick out of Towson in the 2023 draft. He's just the 9th-ranked Astros prospect, so it's not this hugely high prospect. He had his first year pitching professionally in 2024, and after that year, he was named the Astros minor league pitcher of the year. He's a pitcher they believe in. 2025, he had a strained forearm that cost him 2 months of the season, and he came back late in the year and looked excellent at the AAA level. This year, he's looked, okay. But in December, he had the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. It relieves pressure on the nerves and blood vessels between the collarbone and rib, and that hurt his progression here. Dougie Wise. Yeah, I don't know if it was exactly 40 cents, but then I meant to talk about it. But we only have 20 minutes before the daily session. I got to speed all of this up. But yeah, so Peko hasn't been that good this year. And TV Jones saying Peko has a walk issue. I mean, 28 walks over 82 2/3, I'm fine with it. 86 strikeouts, 28 walks. He's got 98 on his fastball. He's got a cutter. He's got a 3/4 arm slot. He's a tricky pitcher. But I think that afterwards here, you know, that I'm comfortable with this whole plan. Now, there's, Jerry talking about the price difference for first five in full game. It's massive. It's a massive price difference here. The Angels right now at Penny are plus 139 full game. First five plus 115, so it's not quite as big. I've got 24 cents difference. What book do you have that at, Jerry? But look, I've got uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I mean, in what world would you be able to get Urena versus a pitcher, a ninth-ranked prospect in the Astros system who is okay? You could get him plus a half, first five plus a half. Walbert Urena, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. I mean, I've been very thankful. Maybe I'm leaving money on the table. And for those of you guys backing Walbert Urena, go get that cash. Wow, 50-cent difference at DraftKings. Wow, 50-cent difference at DraftKings. And it is a 24-cent difference at Penny. So I'm off of the game. I don't understand why Urena is priced like this. I'm off of the game. Let's move on to our final spot on the board. We had Sharpie jump into our chat, tell us that Sasaki was going to shove here, taking the over strikeout prop. Dodgers 75 and 51, 38 and 25 on the road. Rockies 15 75, 27 and 33 at home at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Very, very offensive conditions here. Let me just grab them quickly. We have plus 35% runs, plus 26% homers, plus 34% doubles and triples, and plus 15% singles. W-Wise had 40-cent difference. Yeah, I thought it was bigger than it. I believe it was bigger last night than it is now. Look, it's again, we kind of need to speed up, but that game is, I would love to talk about for longer and longer and longer. You have 70% of the tickets on the Astros and just 29% of the cash. I can understand why you guys are backing Urena. I just can't. Sasaki 4.46 ERA, 1.29 whips, got a 4.29 expected ERA. The last time since the All-Star break, he's been very good. He's been very good. Every start, he's gone 2 earned runs or less. Turnbuckle Tommy on Freeland under 17.5 points, the easy cash play of the day. Says Freeland has seen the Dodgers twice this year. He hasn't gone past 5 innings in either game, giving up 8 and 6 earned. He's pitched 27 and 24 innings in 2 of his last 3. He's been excellent, Freeland, over his last 3 starts. Let me copy and paste this here. The Freeland under. When we get to, let's get to Freeland. Sasaki's been pitching very well. There's no doubt about that. Kyle Freeland's first couple starts this year were excellent, and then he went on the IL with shoulder inflammation, and then he was arguably the worst pitcher in baseball for a long period of time. He has been very good these last 3 starts. He's allowed 3 earned runs, over 21 in the third innings. And the Rockies are hitting righties harder than the Dodgers are hitting lefties. With it all said and done, the fact that he went complete 9 at home versus the Royals aren't hitting lefties. The fact that he went 1 earned run over 8 innings at San Francisco, it's a park that we were on the first round of 2.5. I should have also been on the Rockies, but he loves pitching in the Oracle Park. He pitches very well there. There's no surprise. So he's gone up against the Royals, Cardinals, and Giants. The Dodgers are a different animal. Clearly different animal. Oh, there's our guy, the truth teller in the house. Truth teller. I had no way of getting a hold of you. Oh, it's such a relief to see you, buddy. Great to see you. R.K. Freeman in the house. Oh, it's great to see you. Bullpen-wise, Rockies bullpen 4.52 ERA, 1.51 whip, being better than the Dodgers bullpen 4.89 ERA, 1.43 whip. And when it comes to the sticks here, Dodgers versus lefties 258, 719 OPS. Rockies versus righties 255, 746 OPS. The Rockies are hitting righties harder than Dodgers are hitting lefties. In saying that, I don't feel comfortable backing Freeland. I don't feel comfortable backing Colorado against the Dodgers ever. But the Rockies played so well in that series in LA, it was easy to back them. Right now, the Dodgers seem like a team making up for the huge losing streak they were just coming out of. This 11.5 has moved 6 cents to the under. And then on the money line here, we have minus 193 for the Dodgers. This opened up minus 192. It went down to minus 183 right away, and then it's come back to minus 193. Dougie White says the Dodgers own the Rockies. I mean, sure, but those one-run games made us a lot of money in that last series in Colorado. And there's times that the Rockies play the Dodgers tough. We take a quick look at the price difference here. First 5 in full game. We have the Dodgers minus 192 full game. First 5 minus 166. That's a big difference. The Rockies are plus 175 full game. First 5 plus 143. That's a massive difference when it's not like the Dodgers bullpen's that good. I know you want to cut the game down against the Dodgers as much as possible, but I mean, come on. 32-cent difference is big. Big, big, big. You know, it's not, I don't want Freeland. TJ says right back to the over. That was one of the spots that really bothered me not joining you on that over yesterday, TJ. All right, that is Major League Baseball for Wednesday, August 19th. It's a pretty convoluted card full of conjecture. I think we could get paid on it. I came here with 12 bets. Arizona, Boston, first 5 under 4.5 minus 125. And first 3 under 2.5 minus 125. I have Miami, Philadelphia, first 5 under 4.5. If I could go back and not bet it, I would. New York, Baltimore, first 5 over 5. I love that bet. And then I have first 3 unders and first 5 unders for St. Louis, Cincinnati, first 3 under 2.5 and first 5 under 4.5 minus 125 each. And then Toronto, Tampa Bay, first 3 under 2.5 and first 5 under 4.5 minus 135 for the 2.5. It's now minus 150. And the Toronto, Tampa Bay, first 5 under 4.5 minus 117. Then Seattle, Milwaukee, first 3 under 2 at plus 102, and Seattle, Milwaukee, first 5 under 4 at minus 123. I like those bets very, very much. I moved on Washington plus 128 last night, and then I added the plus 109 Washington first 5 this morning. We're going to go over all the highlighted plays of the day in a little bit here. For the additions, I'm going to study the Mets first 5 plus a half. I don't know if I move on it. I'm going to study the under in Braves Twins. Again, I don't know if I get there. I want to see a line moving towards the Cubs. I'd like to see that. I don't mind going back to them and betting for a third straight time. AOD, thank you for rocking with us. Jerry just moved on the Diamondbacks. Team total over 3.5. Then we have no additions on that one. We have we have plays of the day that I will get to when we get to the end. Any other action for me? Well, I mean, the Mariners I'm going to have to bet. I really like that first 5 over 5 in the Orioles game, but those teams can't hit. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad that Giants-Guardians game just got away from me and can't move on it. Nothing for me in the... Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty simple, not too many additions, which is great, so I can focus fully on tomorrow's card. I got my Jays action. I'm in business there. Then I would wish if it's Gage Jump, I'm going to study that Athletics game a little bit longer, but... that's it there. Adding the Mariners full game with some concern. And then that's it. That's it. All right. All right. Beautiful. This is going to be a fun day. We need to look 15-6 yesterday. It's not going to be easy following it up. So let's move on to WNBA. We went 4-0 yesterday. It's been feast or famine in the WNBA for us. We've been feasting, a little more feast than famines, but it feels like we either sweep the board or things go awry. We had a very nice, rather high watermark of the season too. I don't remember a season in anywhere where we just started in the black and stayed there. So we're back to a double-digit ROI in WNBA. We went 4-0 yesterday. We cashed the Sun first quarter plus a half, cashed the Sun first half plus a half, cashed the Dream plus 3.5, cashed the Sky plus 3.5. We cashed them all very easily. It rarely happens like that. We're now 73 and 53 at 57.9% plus 13.4 units. ROI plus 10.63%. Feel good about all of this here. TJ I saw that Mystics minus 9 and tailed immediately. It's so incredible. It's just the perfect opportunity. I wanted to double down, and I almost did, man. That's how bad. I have 2 units on the minus 9. At minus 120. It was between the 9.5 minus 105, and I was like, no, just take the 9 and minus 120, but put 2 units on it. Maybe that's the wrong way of thinking. But I wanted more, so when the first halves finally came out, I was like, oh, what is it? And it was minus 6.5, and I was like, oh, I could do this. And I was like, well, come on, man. You can't bet a first half minus 6.5 when you have the full game at minus 9. So there's nothing I can do here. The WNBA players have made it very clear that they do not want back-to-backs. And I hope that the Tempos show more character than the Aces sitting their best 3 players and losing 57 points off the floor and then losing by 40 at the Liberty. The Tempo just had their biggest game of the year. Scotiabank Arena versus the Fever. They sold the place out. Sykes came back from injury. I don't see how she could play today. She'd missed 18 straight games. Sykes comes back from injury. The Tempo are dealing with a ton of injuries. This is the worst possible situation. AM says Tempo plus 11, says he has as a 7.5, says the opening line captured the back-to-back already. It's gone too far. I have a real belief that the books are incapable of putting the proper lines on back-to-backs in the WNBA. I mean, would you have taken the Aces minus their 3 players in the back-to-back at plus 38.5? I mean, it's so. This is not numbers. Yes, if this was based solely on numbers, sure, the Tempo would be bet. Sure. But this is not numbers. This is the psychology behind the women don't want to play back-to-backs. Simple. I mean, this is one of the best bets of the season. It doesn't mean you empty the clip on it, but this is one of the best bets of the season to me. We opened up at 9. We're at 11 right now. I said that I expected this to get to 13. We'll see what happens with it. There's not too much to get into other than the Mystics are going to batter the Tempo. The Mystics are the best rebounding team in the WNBA. They're just going to batter and batter and batter the Tempo to death. The Tempo have their most important game of the season sold out at the Scotiabank. Now they go to Care First Arena in Washington, D.C. Oh, they're going to hate waking up in the morning. They're going to hate walking to the court. Why do I have to play the back-to-back? So, Mystics minus 9 is, I think it's arguably the best bet of the year in WNBA. But again, don't empty the clip on it. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Now, this is a spot I'm very interested in backing the Valkyries. We'll see how this is moved. This game means so much to the Valkyries. They, as AM told us last night, the Lynx are 8-0 all time versus the Valks. Valkyrie have never beaten the Lynx. Chase Center is going to be sold out, and the Lynx are coming off, beating the Aces. The Lynx are clearly the class of the WNBA. Now the Aces will have something to say about that in the playoffs. I have the plus 650 future on the Lynx. Ron Crawford has the plus 1200 future. This total opened up at 167.5. It's down to a 164. And then on the spread, we're up to a 3. Interesting. I was so interested as to what was going to happen with this line movement and with this cash flow. Huh. Interesting. I thought there was a better chance that we were going to get to a 1.5. And you know what? Rod Zwacky said that. He said, wait for the 3. And I was like, I think this will be a better chance going to the 1.5. But Rod was right on this. For the cash flow here, let me just touch on the Washington game. It only has 57% of the tickets and 58% cash on the Mystics. Clearly, there are people that believe I'm the fact that these women don't want to play back-to-backs and aren't used to back-to-backs and have never played back-to-backs and all that stuff, I'm pointing and laughing and waiting to collect my money, and others aren't. And that's fine. Here, this was hugely public on the Valkyrie last night. And I don't mind it when it's hugely public the night before in WNBA because I don't really know if the public's moving on these games the night before. Now, some of them are, obviously. There's rec bettors betting the night before. It's not like they're not. 71% of tickets, 78% cash on the Valks here. I want the Valks here. AM says big money dumped on the Lynx this morning, and the Sesh videos in this game. So I'm going to wait at this point and see what happens, but I'm interested in the Valkyries. I thought by the time we got here, I would be backing them in a game that means so much to them, and I still want to. So I'm going to wait a little bit here. TJ says sounds like a first half plus 1.5 bet. I don't know. I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch. Shout out to the Sweaty Butcher in the house. I want the Valkyries. I thought that after we talked it out here, I'd be on them, but I'm not at this point. We got to put a bow on the proceedings. Let's talk about our highlighted plays of the day here. We have a top set. Tigers first 5, team total over 1.5. Mets for 3. and first 5 plus a half. Reds first 3 under 2.5. Marlins first 3 and first 5. Jays first 3 plus a half. That is from our guy Top Set here. We have plays of the day. Turnbuckle Tommy, easy cash play of the day is Freeland under 17.5 outs. Londo's hot Swedish girlfriend play of the day is the Astros money line. We have, sorry, take me a second here. Come on. God, there's too many pages of notes here. I thought I had the night. I must have blown past it. Damn it. Well, let me just... Oh, no, here we go. Dougie Wise, free bands play of the day. Twins first 5 plus 100. Flank stake play of the day is the Athletics money line, Guardians run line, White Sox money line, Diamondbacks money line. Spooner only has 2 bets on this card. He's got Jays Rays first 3 under 2.5 and Cards Reds first 3 under 2.5. Then we have Stacks play of the day number 1, Braves over 4.5, team total over 4.5. Play of the day number 2, Stacks play of the day number 2, Yankees Orioles over 9. Taint play of the day at Braves money line, and that is our show for today. We got TJ's action as well. TJ has Toronto first 5 plus a half. Detroit Pittsburgh under 8.5. Sorry, let me copy and paste this. Miami Philadelphia over 8.5. New York Yankees team total over 4.5. Washington first 5 money line. A's team total over 3.5. And Dodgers Colorado over 11. He stayed off the Brewers. Interesting. Stayed off the Brewers. That is our show for today. Thank you guys so much. We got to just run. Thank you to Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. Have a great time with the Daily Sesh. Get that cash. I will see you guys in 10 hours when we break down the Thursday action on the Nightly Bag. Thank you guys so much. Johnny Yim, I'll be there at noon. Bunch of us are getting there at noon. I don't think we can really sit till about 12:15, 12:30. We're going to get the tables all set up together. Can't wait to see you, Johnny Yim. Thank you guys so much. Let's go get that cash. Thank you to all of you guys for supporting. Thank you to my guy Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. Have a great time with Boy Fresh, Dabby Cab, and Chappie Funkadelic. Let's get this money, man. Coming off in 19 and 6 day. I want more of that. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so, you know what to do. Tune in to